when I came to Hong Kong, I followed my husband, and I was supposed to come here just for 2 years from Glasgow. And it was very, very sort of unusual, this school, because Borrett Road was not a school as such. It wasn't. So it was very different, very, very different. The classrooms, the environment was very different. But it was a school with a difference, but it was, I enjoyed it. I have got really fond memories of the earlier days.
The school itself, although the outside was an old military hospital, inside there was almost like a little capsule, because I think the SF had actually done out the school part very nicely. And when you went in, it was quite surprising to see how well turned out the classrooms were. They were very nicely decorated.
When we first took it over, it was like many colonial buildings. It had a long, long corridor all the way down one side of the building, and that was all totally open. As I guess when it was a hospital, there were wards, and they put them out on the balcony to get the air, not the polluted air like now, but the real air.
It had a real beautiful feel to that school, very pleasant environment, lots of archways, lots of brickwork, great views over Central and Admiralty. Even though we had a small place there, it was indeed a great place to be.
And I remember the building, because it was a very beautiful building. It had lots of arches. It was very sort of Hong Kong colonial. The fans, no air conditioning. And the fact that really your classroom was your classroom and everybody came to you. And I remember that we had to move every piece of furniture ourselves into the building. So my memory is arriving and having all my fingernails breaking, because I was taking all these desks in and chairs in, and arranging every classroom ourselves, which of course you just wouldn't do now.
We had a great team to begin with. Do you remember we used to meet in that poky little room? About 6 of us, weren't there? We ran the school together. I was called the principal, but it was everybody's ideas, and it was so lovely. It was a family, good word for that, yes. And we all knew every child by name, and most of the parents by name.
When I started, we only had about 9 teachers, right? I still remember Miss Foxcroft as a very young lady, right? And we started with only 9 teachers, in fact, and like you said, about 70 kids, right, with Mrs. Graham as our principal that time. Yeah, it was a largely very, very like a family affair.
And the teachers largely knew all of the students. And of course the teachers knew each other very well too. So there was a real kind of family feel to things, and people were, really knowledgeable about what was going on and in tune with each other. But the growth of the school, when you think now, we can't have a whole school photo. We haven't really got a location where we can conveniently do that. And you look in the yearbooks and you can see these very small clusters of children being photographed. And now, of course, it was spread across, the entire page and more.
Well, I came from the UK to get my job here in West Island School, and the contrast between the two was huge, because the school I taught in Essex was quite a tough school. And then it took me a while to relax and realise that the children were really very trustworthy, and they could leave the room and go and get a book, and they would come back again, And I think that was the biggest impression that I had, was how relaxing it was to teach the students, because they were so easy to get along with and they enjoyed being at school.
And then the uniform was not our choice. We went through a choice mechanism, but the principal at the time was very, very sure she wanted not just blue, which has stayed as the school colour, but bright blue. It was a really bright, loud blue, and that was for the trousers and for the skirt. And then it was a kind of a striped pyjama type top, and the students really hated the uniform. And the nickname from other schools was the Smurfs, because the blue was like the Smurfs, or it was a little bit like the Star Ferry uniform. So they got teased mercilessly.
probably the most important thing was to treat everybody as equal. I felt that support staff had just as important a role as teachers, and every student was important. Every student mattered. I do not believe that any student is unable to do everything. I think they all have talents, and we all tried so hard to bring out the talents they did have, not to stress the things they couldn't do. I think that was very important.
We were all, in fact, all the teachers were probably jack of all trades in a way, because we were helping each other all the time. Again, I still remember the first school play, which was Bugsy Malone. It was fantastic. It was a huge success, and that was again Miss Foxcroft, who was actually head of English faculty at that time, and she did. It was a huge success.
And so wonderful, and those kids gave it their all. I mean, they worked their socks off. Real prima donnas among them, and ones who were really shy and didn't want to be in it but wanted to be part of everything. That was really great. I loved that.
We decided that we'd have every child in the production and every member of staff. So everybody was involved, and we had somebody who was a technology teacher, design technology teacher, Alan Sankey, and he made these incredible splurge guns which were for Bugsy Malone. So we did Bugsy Malone, but we actually made proper splurge guns. So splurge guns are actually guns which come with foam that comes out and absolutely splatters everybody in the play and later in the audience as well. That was huge fun. Because every child was in it, it was hilarious.
The parents were involved a lot more in those early days, and indeed we didn't have any caterers in the school. We didn't have a tuck shop. But the parents used to come in on a volunteer basis and provide snacks and food for the students. And again, getting to see a lot more parents on a daily basis, I think, helped to shape the school as well, because the teachers and the students were very aware of that, high level of parental involvement.
It wasn't a British school transplanted into Hong Kong. It was meant to be international, and it was. I don't know how many nationalities now, but when I left, we had 76 nationalities among the kids, and we had 40 nationalities among the teachers. And it still seems as if there's a whole spread, and I think we can learn so much from each other, different cultures and different ways of going about things. I was so thrilled they all came in today. They all remembered me. I was totally overwhelmed by their generosity. They were so lovely. Mr. Lee came from South Island School. He came for an interview, and I didn't understand a word he said, and he didn't understand a word I said. And several people from South Island School said, he can't speak a word of English, but he's a really hard worker and he's really keen to get on.
喺91年就開始工作，就喺波老道嗰度做第一個 caretaker。喺西島嗰度做咧就做個校工咧，我中意做下維修啊、學下木工啊、鐵器啊咁都包括埋防盜啊嗰啲，即係保安啊嗰類嘢嘅咁。就有幾次咧就有啲人入嚟晚黑，咁其中有一次咧，我走去巡樓嘅時候咧，我撞到有一個咧，咁佢走咯，我係咁追佢，追到佢喺3樓跳咗落2樓，咁咪走咗啦。嗰日咧就有隻馬騮走咗落嚟喺5樓個天台度啦，咁有啲學生咧，佢又驚我，又想睇下喎，咁話俾我聽，咁我想揾個籠咧就裝咗佢入去，咁拎出去放翻佢啦。咁但係隻馬騮好精，佢又冇入嚟咧，咁隨後佢都自行走咗。咁梗係而家嗰度好啲啦，因為又新又大，教育嘅設施又好啊嘛。舊校嗰度咧就細啲咯，舊啲咯，新校嗰度又大咯，又靚咯，係啊，真係好掛住西島嘅。最緊要係西島啲人士啊嘛，即係大家 相處咗咁耐，咁啊有啲感情啊嘛，咁變咗喺感情上好掛住咯，咁又掛住西島嗰啲學生又好乖啊，咁又諗下以前啲畢業嗰啲學生呢，咁翻嚟行啊，咁見到佢哋都好開心咯。
We were at first not allowed to use one end of the building at all, but we had to have an assembly hall. We had to have something. We were determined to have assembly every week, right from the beginning, because we wanted to belong. We didn't want students coming in and getting to know 3 or 4 students in their own class. I mean, they were all the same year, but we wanted them all to know each other and know all of us.
And the other thing I remember most vividly, I think, was the fact that the students decided that because it was such an old building, there must be ghosts. And one morning we arrived to the school and a whole load of students arrived covered in soot and grit with torches in their hands, and they'd actually come into school early and gone under the school into the cellars looking for what they thought would be dead bodies because it was an old military hospital, and they were convinced that during the war the Japanese had tortured people or something, and so they were all going through the bottom of the building and coming up covered in grit and were convinced they'd seen a skeleton down there.
We pulled out all the stops. And I said I thought it would be good if the governor of Hong Kong came to open the school, and so I wrote to Chris Patten, and of course he came.
Someone once said that in a civilized society, everybody should want for the community's children what they want for their own. And I therefore regard it as a particular pleasure and privilege as an ESF parent to be with all of you today, officially opening a new ESF school. Over the last couple of months, I've been to other schools that were celebrating 50th anniversaries, in one case a 75th anniversary. There's a great sense of history and past accomplishment on such occasions. But there's nothing quite like the excitement of a new school beginning. The excitement of having everything to work for, of having no comfortable achievements to rest on.
And they walked all around the school. I mean, Chris Patten spent hours here, and we had things going on. We didn't have sort of all display in the hall. We had the official opening, but then he walked all around the school, and there were PE lessons going on, and art lessons going on, and language lessons, and of course they all worked very hard at it, and I'm sure they practiced the lessons they taught. It was magnificent.
West Island School was founded in 1991 in the old military hospital building on Barrett Road. Being a founding student, I know we have come a long way since to have this architectural masterpiece as our permanent home.
This building and its equipment was the result of a great deal of creativity and hard work by many people. We love this place. It has an ambience all its own. We are proud, parents, staff and students, we are proud to be here. Though I must admit I don't think any of us would want to go through the birth pangs again. As you will agree, this whole building and its surroundings really are lovely, and we're so lucky to be here.
Yeah, and I still remember some of the students, the first cohort. Some of them are married. They are some of the girls, right? Former students are now mothers. So I feel like grandmother myself now. They all have got children. I have been to some weddings as well of the former students. Yeah.
There are no students in our school now who would have even been alive at that time. None of them were even born then. So that makes you realise how much time has gone past since then. It makes me feel very old, actually.
And again, I think at that time we were looking to try and create a reputation, because the new school parents weren't sure so much about what we could offer. And so everyone was really ambitious, and that first cohort did incredibly well. And right from the start, I think the principals that have stayed with West Island School, they were there from the very beginning.
When you're in the school for a period of time, you start to see what you think are the deficiencies. Always keen on the arts, keen on sport, keen on technology, and I wanted to see those things improve within the school.
I think the ethos, the underlying ethos is still the same, and we wanted it to be a totally caring place for everyone, but also a centre of excellence. And it is still a centre of excellence, and it is still a leader, and I think that is wonderful, I really do. I love that.